Hello, my name is Drew Pickles and today I am going to Islamorada, Florida, which is a town on the Florida Keys. You may be curious why the fuck I am going to Islamorada, Florida. Well, Drew Pickles the Dark's grandfather lived here when he was a kid, and his mother and him went on vacation there for 10 days, and he was recently remembering his trip there, and he decided to go check it out in Google Maps and see how much he remembered. This was of course back in 1996, so obviously shit has changed, so I will be going to the 2022 version from Google Maps, and Drew Pickles the Dark will be pointing out any differences. Anyway, here we go. When I get to Islamorada, Florida, which by the way I have been mispronouncing wrong this whole time, it's supposed to be Islamorada, except without the pauses, since that's the closest Drew Pickles the Dark could get Microsoft Sam to say it, but I digress. When I get to Islamorada, Florida, there will be a really long line of white tourists, Cubans who fled from the commies in Cuba, likely some ethnic minorities, though Drew Pickles the Dark doesn't remember seeing any, a bunch of drunk people, such as his grandfather, and more tourists. I will wait for what feels like the time it takes the plane ride from T.F. Green Airport in Warwick, Rhode Island to Miami, Florida, with a stop to switch planes in Atlanta, which by the way is how Drew Pickles the Dark came here as a kid. But in all reality will be no time whatsoever, when I will start having a sexual fantasy about fucking anything and everything on the island, when I will get a massive boner and insert it into the asses of all the males in the line like I think it's time for a swell poem. Now I lay you down to screw. I shove my 300-mile-long cock in you. This may make you want to regurgitate. So in your face I'll masturbate. Soon your fat wife won't be home. So in your ass my cock will roam. So now you wonder what I'll do. But know this. I had a swell time raping you. Bag, that was swell. After raping my swell way onto the island, I will first decide to head to Theater of the Sea, which is a swell attraction, where they let you see and interact with sea animals. This was also the first and only time Drew Pickles the Dark touched a shark, which felt like sandpaper by the way, and also got to go up on stage and shake hands, or I guess flippers, with a sea lion. I will of course rate the line to this place, but talking about that would be redundant and time wasting, so I will instead describe how I will fuck the animals like fucking the sharks is like putting sandpaper in my cock and jacking off. This would probably make the pube muppet even hornier, since he likes pain more than even I do. Oh glorious pain, oh glorious pain, oh glorious pain. Now I'm fucking the sea lion, and it sounds a little something like Drew Pickles the Dark forgets all the animals that were here besides the ones he interacted with, so I'll just fuck all the rest like pissing in all the pools and now raped and gay animals are in like spebag, that was swell. After wreaking havoc at Theater of the Sea, I'll head in down to the Key Lantern Motel, which was down the street from where Drew Pickles the Dark's grandfather lived. I will walk into the motel lobby and tell the worker I would like to rent a room and the worker will say sure thing. What kind of room would you like? And I will say yes, I would like a swell room with all of the premium gay porn channels, and if possible one that is best for fucking gay prostitutes in during the night. The guy will get a pissed off look and say what the fuck is wrong with you? What kind of place do you think we are running here? Get the fuck out of here, you sick fuck, and I will say I'll show you the true definition of a sick fuck and begin to rape him like bag. This is swell. You could have avoided this if you just let me rent a room with premium gay porn channels that is also suitable for fucking gay prostitutes. Bag. That was swell. All of this raping will make me super hungry, so I will then proceed to head to Lorelei's restaurant and cabana bar, which was also just down the street. In the way there, however, I will see a giant mermaid cutout and proceed to vomit it, seeing it topless like blah before whipping out my cock and smacking that bitch down like smack. This thing was down here when Drew Pickles the Dark visited like 25 years ago. Smack. I suppose it must be a local landmark or something like that. Smack. Anyway, he completely forgot about it until he was looking at Google Street View. Smack. Bag. That was swell. After that brief detour, I will head in over to Lorelei's restaurant and cabana bar like I said I would a paragraph ago. When I get to Lorelei's restaurant and cabana bar, the guy will say, "Hello sir, may I take your order?" And I will say yes, I will have a pub light queer, which has 20% more S than the average stuff in the market. And he will say, "Excuse me, but what the fuck did you ask for?" And I will say, "You heard me right." And the guy will say, "Why the fuck would you want this beer?" And I will say, "Because it's super swell and tasty." And the guy will call me a sick fuck, and then I will not tolerate this insult and fuck the guy like Drew Pickles the Dark's grandfather used to get drunk here a lot. His aunt told him obviously. As a kid he didn't have booze, and his grandfather also didn't get drunk when they were visiting, but they had lunch here. He remembers the fries being super swell, and apparently they have good key lime pie, though he didn't have that bag. That was swell. After that I will look over the dock and see a heron waiting for people to throw it some food scraps. I guess down here herons are like seagulls at McDonald's in other places, and I will go and fuck it like the locals named the heron who used to hang out here Hector the heron. But since I am visiting here in 2022 there is no way Hector is still alive, so this is some random one. By the way, in Street View Drew Pickles the Dark saw a guy right next to a heron. Those things are dangerous as fuck, since they can impale people. Speaking of which, using its long beak as a dildo bag, that was swell. Pretty soon I will come across a coconut in the nearby parking lot, and much like that absolute degenerate from Reddit, stick my dick in it and blow my load like swa 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 swa, and then I will feel things crawling all over my dick, and I will whip my dick out and see it's a bunch of fire ants. The fire ants will bite my cock and I will scream like wah before masturbating with them in my cock like Drew Pickles the Dark found a coconut full of fire ants when he was down here, so the scene is a reference to that and also that guy who cummed in a coconut in Reddit. Drew Pickles the Dark didn't get hurt by the fire ants since his grandfather warned him they were around, so he dropped the coconut right away. But this is super swell for me. The tingling feeling of them crawling all over my cock and biting it is making me super horny. Blowing my load like swa 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 bag. That was swell. After that little adventure, I will head in down to Robbie's Boat Rentals, which also doubles as a fish feeding place, since for some reason loads of exotic fish come up to the docks. But anyway, before renting a boat I will see the fish off the dock, then go skinny dipping in the water and fuck the fish like bag. That was swell, and then I will rent a boat, and by rent a boat I mean steal it and go into the wooded area not far. When I get into the wooded area I will see a bunch of trees loaded with pelicans, and also completely covered in pelican shit. And yes, Drew Pickles the Dark saw a tree covered in pelican shit when he was down there. Of course seeing the pelican shit will make me super fucking horny, and I will clean up the trees in the way you would expect, like nom 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 bag. That was swell, and then I will fuck the pelicans like there were loads of nests in the trees, which means there are female pelicans too, so I will smack those bitches out like smack 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 back to fucking the male pelicans like Drew Pickles the Dark isn't actually 100% sure if the place in the picture is the one from when he was a kid, but it was a place like this, and since they rented the boat at Robbie's, he thinks this is it. Bag. That was swell. After that trip, I will head to the History of Diving Museum. Drew Pickles the Dark didn't actually visit this place when he went here when he was a kid. However, it's apparently a tourist attraction according to Google Maps, so it's just conditioning for me to cause some swell shenanigans by going to it. Anyway, when I get there I will fuck the long line like bag. That was swell, and I will go inside the museum and put on one of those creepy looking old diving suits and skate daintily like a pretty ballerina princess. Shortly, however, I will need to go poopy diarrhea really bad, so I will just say fuck it and proceed to poop my pants like the poop peg. That was swell, and the smell will be so bad to an unswell heterosexual, of course, that everyone in the museum will scream like they are from one of those old monster movies from the 1950s and run out. At this point I will use my homosexual cat-like reflexes to intercept the many and fuck them like maybe. If people like this format, Drew Pickles the Dark will make one of his hometown. He can't make one for his current town, since it's so rural that the Google car camera hasn't actually visited it. Bag. That loss well. After leaving there I will rip off all of my clothes and run through the streets completely naked, and then I will notice some large coral, which I will proceed to use as a dildo like these are actually really sharp and tearing my asshole apart. But the blood makes good anal lube. Drew Pickles the Dark remembers seeing this shit everywhere. Bag. That loss well. Finally, because this wouldn't actually be a proper Florida Keys video, if I didn't go here, I will head to one of the local beaches. When I get to the beach I will sit back and stroke my cock and a guy will walk by and say, dude, put that thing away, there are like, children here, to which I will just fuck him like Drew Pickles the Dark wasn't allowed in the water as a kid since his mother was afraid he would be swept out to the Atlantic Ocean or something like that. So basically he could only dip his feet in skinny dipping in the water like pissing in my bathing suit like turning the Atlantic Ocean gay with my piss. How the fuck do you turn an ocean gate? Coming in the water now like This is kind of an experimental Drew video, so be sure to give feedback. Bag. That lost well. Bag. That all sounds shit eating piss drinking cum guzzling animal fucking poopy cum I'll turn you gay swell. I think I'll go to Islamorada right now. See you all later my sexy faggots.